don't know, enlighten me, because I know you read it.
Well, the big problem is right now in the Southern Baptist Convention is there's a big uproar. I would say an uproar. There's a big discrepancy on if women should lead or preach or pastor in the church. Um, and it seems like they've overruled to where they are tightening down on women being a pastor in the church. And I think there is some, what people say, people think that it contradicts itself in the Bible. You know, you look at First Timothy, and Paul is telling women to stay silent in the church. But if we look at what's happening, if we don't take the Bible out of context, like we so often do, that's why there's so many different denominations and religions, is the Bible's taken out of context. He was talking to the church of Ephesus. And we have to look at Jewish culture back then, of when they worshiped. Jewish culture is they would separate men and women, men on one side of the church, women on the other side, and there would be basically a curtain in between the two where they couldn't see each other. Now, I haven't really done a whole lot of research on why that is, but it was important to them. And they had the women saying, what is he saying? What does he mean by that? During the church service, and it was a disruption. It was keeping people from carrying on with the service. And you had women trying to lead men.
Right.
And back then it was culturally unacceptable. It goes back to even wearing hats, you know, not to get off subject, but the whole hat wearing thing, it says not to wear a head covering. Well, the people back then were identified by their coverings on their head. It was a status.
Right.
And so basically, when it's talking about not to wear head coverings in the church, it's talking about don't bring your status into church. It doesn't matter.
Ooh, okay.
And so we take it out of context.
Right.
Because
that was one particular time in a particular church that Paul was
in a whole different culture.
Right.
But going back to the women in the church, it says in Acts, Paul says in Acts, that in the last days that God will pour out his spirit on men and women, sons and daughters, and they will prophesy.
Ooh, yes.
And so if we want to draw a line and be careful, we can say women can disciple, women can pastor, women can preach, women can teach, women can lead when there's not a deacon or...
I know you don't want to be the women's ministry leader, right?
I don't. They probably wouldn't like my teaching.
And you wouldn't be relatable to them.
Wouldn't be relatable because...
You're not a woman.
I'm not a great woman. Thank God.
Thank God. Thank God.
You're not a great woman either.
No,
you know, I know.
I fall short in that category.
But that's okay. I'm good falling short in that category.
Yes, I know who God made me.
But I know there's some men, not to throw shade, but there's some men that would probably fit better in today's church in the women's ministry.
Ooh. Yeah. I like how Pastor Joby Martin always says, stand firm and act like men. Well, the Bible says it.
Yeah. And that's why, I mean, it clearly tells us how to act. And God created us different on purpose.
Yes.
He created women as nurturers. He created men as protectors and leaders.
Yes.
And I think that's the whole recipe right there. Is he created us as leaders.
Right.
He didn't create women as leaders, even though there are women leaders.
Yes. And a lot of times with raising the child, women do take the lead in that.
Because
But
the man is not in the picture.
Right. Out earning a living and yeah, no, you're spot on with that. But I have heard some great sermons from women, you know.
Women have great insight. And I don't think we need to neglect what women have to say. Because they have a different side and a different experience of life than we do. They see the world from a whole different lens than what we see it from.
Right.
We are focused on protecting, leading. I mean, think about what we did in the earliest of days. We fought in battle. We went out and hunted for our food.
I think you hit a good point right there. I think that women shouldn't be on the front line of battle. You know, that's a man's job. And I'm not talking in spiritual battle. I'm talking about
physical.
Physical, yes, absolutely. I'm not saying there's not a place for women in the military, because they do think about things different, and I think you got to look at all aspects when that happens,
right.
You know, and their ability to do multiple things at once.
Yes.
As we're just dumb men, and if we get one thing done at a time, that's a win. But
well, I just take my house for example. We wouldn't live the life that we have without my wife.
Right.
And I would say the same for you.
Oh, absolutely. Even in my business, when Lindsay's there, or our business, I should say, when she's there, we run so much smoother because I could just delegate tasks to her. They get done almost immediately. And then I could be back out in the shop, or I could be talking with customers.
Well, I heard something years back and it's stuck with me, and it's so true. Women are multipliers. You give her, let's just go back to the first thing that we usually give our wife once we're married is a seed. They multiply, they grow it into a child.
Ooh.
You look at, you give them a house and they make it a home.
Right, right.
You give them, I mean, let's just take anything. You give them kindness, they multiply it and they give you more. But then it goes on the flip side. You give them hell, not to use a cuss word, but they're going to multiply that and give it back. That's the way that they were created. Is that our beach ball for today, the turtle?
Our distraction.
I don't even see it.
No, that is true. You're going to get out what you put in, but in a multiplied way.
Women are multipliers. And I think that is their strength. Men are not multipliers. Men are builders, but we can also tear down just as good as we can build.
That's good. Yeah. Well, it's not good to tear down, but it's good to know.
But it's, it goes back to my buddy is saying, weaknesses are misguided strengths. So if we get our, if we are trying to manhandle something in a good way, it's going to be built up because it's directed in the right area.
Right.
If we're trying to manhandle something in the wrong way, it will be torn down because that's where our energy is focused.
Right. Like fire. In a forge, it could be a useful thing. In a forest, well, it could burn it down.
Well, the same fire that can warm your house can burn your house down.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
And so we are We are human fires, is what we are as men. What are you going to burn? Are you going to warm? Are you going to cook? Or are you going to burn down?
I guess that blue hose was to water the dog park and wreck the
They're making
sidewalk.
this a lake over here.
Yeah, obviously. Dude.
What do y'all think? Do y'all think that women should be leading in a church? And if you do, at what capacity? Where do we draw the line, or do we draw the line? I think it's open for discussion.
Well, they call it the house of God, our church, right? So men should be leaders of the house, but that doesn't mean that there aren't leadership positions inside.